multiple rocket launches. What have you done? You are a fool, Richtofen!
It is the only way.
I am on a mission to get round 100 on every map in Zombies history. Shadows of Evil is done, and now next up is DLC 1 for Black Ops 3, Der Eisendrache. The Gobblegums I use for DE are Perkaholic, Cashback, and Alchemical, and then Near Death Experience and Wall Power. Near Death Experience and Wall Power aren't really needed for this round 100, I just didn't really have any other useful Gobblegums. In hindsight, I really wish I didn't use Near Death Experience, because I didn't realize how overpowered it would be in late game, and it just kind of feels like it defeats the purpose of the challenge altogether. So after this, going forward, we will go ahead and ban Near Death Experience for the rest of Black Ops 3. So now that the Gobblegums are set, we can load into the map and start setting up. Now, unlike Shadows of Evil, the setup for DE is fairly straightforward and easy. There's no crazy death barriers we need to avoid or anything like that. To get set up, we just need to accomplish 3 things. 1, we need to get a bow and upgrade it to the Storm Bow. 2, we need to get the parts for the shield and for the Ragnaroks. And 3, under absolutely no circumstances can we open the door at the top of the church stairs. This door must stay shut for our entire run for the strat to work. So the first 12 rounds or so of the run are spent doing just that. I run around and pick up all the parts while feeding the dragons for the bow. At round 5, I finish the dragons and get the bow so I can start the upgrade process. Please tell me, am I the only one who constantly forgets to actually grab the arrow for the bow before I try to start the upgrade process? I feel like every time I load into DE, I shoot the stupid bonfire like 4 times thinking I'm missing it, and I just haven't picked up the arrow yet. So now that I actually have the arrow, I can start the upgrade process, including this sick first try shot onto the far bonfire. I usually mess this up and take forever to actually hit this one, so hitting it first try was sweet. At round 10, I finish the storm bow upgrade and I get the second to last part for the rags. So now all that's left to do is get the final part on round 12 from
Hello there.
this asshole. The Panzer is this map's special enemy. It spawns for the first time on round 12, and then after that it spawns every 5 or 6 rounds for the rest of the game. I'll dive more into how we actually handle him later on. Just know he's not too bad, but he's not quite as easy as the Margwa to take out. As long as we keep track of what rounds he can be on, he shouldn't be too much of a problem. So for the actual strategy, there are 2 main methods that work pretty much the same way. There's the round 99 and below storm bow strat, and there's the round 100 plus alternate ammo type and electric cherry strat. Now obviously, since our goal is just to get to round 100, we mainly will be using the storm bow strat, but I'll also briefly cover the AAT method since they're fairly similar and I do use both of them from time to time during the run. So for the storm bow strat, you'll be sitting on the upper level of the church above Speed Cola. As long as you leave the door behind you closed, the zombies will only come from the bottom of the stairs, and they'll only come from the staircase closest to you. All we have to do is shoot the storm bow at the bottom of the stairs and wait till it's done and shoot another shot. Whenever the little storm tornado of death is active, I'm going to fire a couple AAT shots into whatever other hordes I can see just to work on charging the Ragnaroks. The Stormbow does charge the Rags, but it charges them way slower than just using an AAT does, so it's best to try to get as much AAT damage out there when possible just to help with ammo. And then of course, when the Rags are charged, we'll throw them down at the bottom of the stairs and just kind of wait and then repeat the process once they're done. Now for the AAT/cherry strat, we'll be in the exact same spot, but now we're going to stand on the side of the stairs next to the railing. Now for me, the timing of this was a little bit hard to get down, but essentially all we're going to do is get electric cherry and an M8A1 with dead wire, then stand next to this railing, shoot a dead wire shot, reload with electric cherry a couple times, and then take out your gravity spikes or Ragnaroks, do 1 grav slam at the top of the stairs, put them away, and repeat. If you get the timing right, 1 electric cherry and 1 dead shot will usually recharge that little bit of rags charge that you lost, so then you can pull them right back out and do another slam. This sounds pretty easy, but for me, it was very easy to mess up. So in my opinion, it's much more difficult than just standing there with the Stormbow, but when you don't have ammo, it's your only choice. Alright, so the last part of the round 100 strategy is the Panzer rounds. No matter which method you use, the Panzer rounds are handled the same way. If you stand in the power room right at the edge of this door, the Panzer will always spawn in this exact spot in front of the death ray. So at the beginning of the Panzer round, we'll wait in the doorway, and as soon as he starts to spawn, we will run out past him and then activate the death ray once he turns and starts facing us. This will stun him in place, and we can just melt down his core with any upgraded shotgun. I just use the KRM because it's easily available on the wall. Now, to make sure we always spawn the Panzer in the correct spot to trap him, all we have to do is just keep track of what rounds he could spawn on. The Panzer will always spawn for the first time on round 12, and then after that it's every 5 or 6 rounds after the last Panzer round. So after round 12, the next one can spawn on round 17 or 18. Then if it was round 18, the next one can be on round 23 or 24, and then it just continues like that. Whenever I know the next round can be a Panzer round, then at the end of the current round, I just sprint straight to the power room door, so I'm there at the beginning of the next round in case he spawns. Now in my run, the first 80 rounds went exactly to plan, so I'll skip through that. I won't bore you with the first 80 rounds. We'll jump on to round 80, where I am cursed. For some reason, on round 80, something always happens to me. On Shadows, I died on round 80. On some other videos that I haven't posted yet, I've had some other stuff happen around 80, but round 80 is my cursed round. And things were no different here on DE. On round 80, I was doing the AAT Cherry Strat to save some ammo and save my max ammo because I knew a dog round was close. And then for some reason, I used the Grav Slam and it didn't hit a zombie that was standing right next to me behind me. So then that zombie trapped me and the rest of the zombies came from the stairs and I was cooked. Now luckily DE is already one of the easiest maps to recover on, plus Black Ops 3 Gobblegums, so this wasn't that big of a setback as it could have been, more just annoying that it was round 80 again. Now my next down, well, it was not so forgiving. Not even because of the down itself, just because I'm kind of an idiot. So on round 95, I started to run out of ammo on the bow with no alchemicals and a Gobblegum machine that costs an insane amount of money, so I only get 1 spin per round. I spun the Gobblegum machine and I did not get an alchemical, but I did get a near-death experience. Now at this point, I realized how insane it was that this meant I could go from round 95 through round 98 without dying. So the plan was to just use it while I was doing the more difficult AAT strat and still try to value my life as if I could die. And then the second I could get an Alchem or a cashback from the Gobblegum, I would ditch it and I would go right back to the normal strat to finish the game. And then on round 97, when I was running back from the Pack-a-Punch, I for some stupid reason decided to try camping on the stairs in the courtyard like I was going to find some new, faster method of getting to round 100. And then when it obviously didn't work in an effort to avoid going down, even though I had near-death experience, I ran up the stairs and opened the door, forgetting that opening that door actually opens the door on both sides of the church, breaking the only rule, making my strategy on the stairs completely impossible. Now on round 98, I still had the broken Gobblegum near-death experience, but it was only going to be active for 1 more round, meaning I need to figure out how to get through round 99 completely natty. I'd have 1 more Gobblegum hit at the beginning of round 99 to try to get an alchemical, but even then, I had no idea where I could camp and effectively use the Stormbow. I was cooked, and probably deservedly so for using near-death experience in the first place. But I still decided to use round 98 to strat test for how I could possibly try to train for all of round 99 without downing. Which, if you can't tell by now, I'm not great at the game, so that's a struggle for me. After many tries in different spots, I ultimately came to the conclusion that I would spin the Gobblegum on the start of round 99, and if I didn't get an alchemical, I would accept my fate and go down with the ship. But if I did get an alchemical, I would do a strat that I found in a Noah J livestream from over 10 years ago sitting in the Wonder Sphere. So after a painstakingly long round 98, using blast furnace and traps and a whole lot of downs that I don't want to talk about, the round flipped, my training wheels were off, and all I could do was spin the Gobblegum and pray. And I got an alchemical. Now the plan was to sit in the Wonder Sphere outside the church and hope that 2 alchemical hits would be enough to get me through the round, even with the extremely slow spawns that I was now going to get. I would try as much as possible to use my rags to conserve ammo, but even then, I wasn't sure if this was going to be enough. I had to shoot so fast to keep them out of the Wonder Sphere. I was absolutely flying through ammo. I went through the first hit of alchemical and I felt like no time had passed. I was nowhere near halfway done with this round. And then, like that, I'm out of ammo again and I have to use the second hit of alchemical. I still felt like absolutely no time has passed and I was destined to die at round 99. Then the final alchemical ended. I was ready to go through the last of my ammo and accept my death. And then there were no more zombies. 99 changed to 100 and Der Eisendrache was complete. If you enjoyed this video and you are still watching at this point, please just drop a sub and feel free to leave a comment calling me a loser for using near death.